YouTube. This looks familiar, doesn't it? Here we are, back on the tube. I want to thank everybody. I know it's been a long hiatus for me personally. I think you guys know it took a lot to. I need to have a good reason to come back to do this. So here we are. Tonight, I want to open up my first live back with a very special guest. Over the course of a week, I think we've become pretty good friends. Actually, a really good dude. Great to cut up with. Obviously, the prodigal son of the family. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in BJ. A lot of you guys may or may not know. We've been talking about Dylan Stephens, and also known as the Angry Viking, over here on YouTube and Facebook, also known as Big Old Texan Family, Big Old Texan Comedian, Big Old Texan Family. It's hard to keep up because he likes to change his name or has to change his name because he keeps getting booted for whatever reasons. I don't know. I haven't been on TikTok for maybe a week. So I'm just getting used to the lay of the land. But without any further ado, before we do get into it, I'd like to just make sure that we understand this is a guest. And so mods, like I said, if people want to ask questions, I'm really not going to be answering a whole lot of chat questions, to be honest with you, until we get through. We're done cutting up with the stuff that we have to do. So after that, if BJ is willing, we can take it to the floor and see if he wants to answer some of y'all's questions. But for now, we're going to just kind of stay on task. We got some pretty sensitive subjects to discuss. It's a pretty sensitive subject with some tough topics. And so the focus of this is going to be a book written by Dylan Stephens under the name Dylan Stephens. The book is called Wooded Sanctuary, and it's a description of Dylan's portrayal of his childhood. We've come to find out that it may not be as accurate as he portrays, but we're going to let the facts speak for themselves. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we bring up this guy right here. I want to just have everybody say hey to BJ. And BJ, go ahead and say hey to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
You can say more than that.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Tell
us a little about yourself. So BJ, who are you in context of the story? If you want to tell us more about your personal, how old you are, you don't have to tell us that. Never had a lady her age. So
yeah, I'm Dylan's brother. I'm Big Old Texan. I'm his older brother. I'm 45. Got a beautiful wife, Denise. We have a 5-year-old little boy. We live in the great state of South Carolina.
What the hell?
We've been married. Friday was actually 16 years. She's put up with me for almost half my life.
It's a strong woman. That's a strong woman, right?
I know, right? But essentially, I first got on his radar when my mother brought me up about the book. And I read it, could not believe that it was the same, it literally was like a work of fiction, because none of the description that he was leaving was accurate. The only thing that was accurate in it was that our father was a minister. That is true. But nothing else was true. And so I read about that, and then I think later on, my wife's actually the one that found, or my mother found Angry Viking, sent that to me. I've watched all the YouTube videos about that. And then all of a sudden, my wife found him on TikTok, and she was like, "You are not going to believe this." And she showed me his stuff, and I'm blown away. I mean,
So,
it's like
so in case anybody's wondering, this is the book. This is Wooded Sanctuary. And BJ, do you know when this was written?
2000 and
I believe it's 6 or 4.
I think it's 6. We're looking it up real quick. I want to say 6, but funny thing about this is I actually found out that the picture on the cover of the book, he stole from my sister, because my sister is a photographer. So she took pictures. When she first started off, she started off by taking pictures of woods, and it was on her page on Facebook. Let's see, 2004.
2004. It was published. Okay.
Yeah. And he took this picture off of her page, and so that's where he got that picture from. And so he never, I just found that out this past weekend when I went to see my mother.
This is your sister's picture that she actually took.
Yeah. She took that picture and had it on her Facebook page before she got her own website. He downloaded it and used it for the book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, what? All right. So this was written. Okay. So yeah, it's either 4 or 6, guys. I think BJ's wife said 6. So, when did you find out? What year did you find out about this?
We got married in 06, 07.
So we found out about a year after we were married.
Yeah, I think we found out in 2007.
2007. When did your mom find out about this?
Around at the same time, because she's the one who actually told us about it, and so we went and bought a copy of it.
Do you know how she found out or found?
She found out from the newspaper article that was sent to her aunts, it wasn't sent to her aunt. It was sent to the city that she lived in. And my aunt is the one that called my mom, was like, "You need to read this article." And so that's how she found out about that.
And then, of course, she came to you with it, and then you guys had to tell your sister.
Yeah.
So what has this done to you guys as a family?
Well,
let's start micro, and let's just say your mom found this out in an article, a news article, and that was in what, your local newspaper?
Her local newspaper.
Local newspaper.
Yeah.
So she finds this in their local newspaper, and then does she come to you immediately?
Pretty close.
Or does she buy the book and read it first?
Did she ever get the book? I think she got a copy of it, but she read the first few pages and she threw it away.
I don't blame her.
Because literally, like, if you read that book thinking that it's true story, whoever survived all that nonsense would be just to live through it would be
right.
You would not be a normal person going through that.
So we're talking about the makeup of your family. So how many people total in your family? So we can
5.
You have 5 people in your family. And so what's the makeup of that?
So there was my father, there was my mother, and then me, my brother, and my sister.
What'd your dad do for a living?
He's a minister, Methodist minister. Yeah, was.
Right on. What was your mom doing during this time? Did she work, or she stay at home, or
She stayed at home until we were old enough. Until we were. I mean, my mom. The first job I can remember her having was stuffing envelopes, and we would all help her. But while we were growing up, she was at home with us. Yeah, that's me on the right side. That's Matt or Dylan on the left. That's my mom right there in the middle.
And so we just touched on something that I should have covered in the beginning. You said, all right, book came out in 2004. Sorry. You said his name. What name did Dylan grow up with?
Matthew Blair Collier, or Matthew Blair. That was his name.
And so, any idea why, or do you know when he changed his name?
I want to say it was obviously the book was in 2006, 4. So it was prior to him and Amanda getting together, because I know when he married his first wife, he was married under the Matthew Blair name. So between him marrying her, and then I know when he was in the military, it was Dylan Stevens, and then I know when he went to Campbell, it was Dylan Stevens. So those were so sometime between.
You say Campbell what?
Campbell University.
Right.
So it had to happen sometime between 98 and 2002, 3.
Just randomly changed his name.
Yeah.
Just picked a name.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea where that name came from?
I do. I don't have any proof of it. My oldest son's name is Dylan. And the street my grandparents grew up on was Stevens Street. So you got Dylan Stevens.
Right.
That's just what I think. I don't have any knowledge, but I mean, you don't pick a name out there. There has to be something there.
Yeah, I mean, we have a little bit of maybe some Kaiser Soze going on here, a little oddness, just picking names out of random items or whatever in the room to come up with something. It's just. I mean, I guess anybody that's going to be an author or somebody who has to have a nom de plume or whatever to be famous, sometimes they'll pick a name. Yeah, I get it, but those are usually people that
major authors. I mean,
yeah. There's a reason that they would want to hide their identity. For a random person to do it, it just seems strange.
Yeah.
So growing up, you're the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And then who's after you?
Dylan. We're 13 months apart.
And then you have a sister.
Yes. And she's 5 years younger than I am.
Okay. What was life growing up from as far back as you can remember?
I mean, it was just a typical normal childhood. I mean, it was, when we were young, we rode bikes. I mean, we did all the typical things. And then when we got older, my parents paid for private school for us. And on a minister salary back then, they're not rich. So it's not like, he So I mean, and he had 3 kids they put through Christian school. I mean, and so we went on proms and dates, and it was
Normal stuff.
just normal everyday. Everybody says that preacher's kids are the worst, and I mean, we played sports, played basketball. He played football.
What position did he play?
I want to say he played wide receiver. I'm not 100% sure because that was so long ago.
Right.
But he played in middle school, and then we went to the private school, and that's where we played basketball and items like that.
So
But
you guys even went to private school.
yeah.
So good education. You had really good home life.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this. You're not too far behind me in tree rings. So my question is, we come from a generation, the boomers that raised us. Sorry if there's any boomers, but the folks that raised us, they could tend to be a little bit more disciplinarian than we tend to be in our generation.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
But, I'm not going to ever deny that my dad didn't whoop my ass, but I'm not ever going to deny that it wasn't warranted when he did it. It was absolutely warranted, and it was never to the point that it was like never abusive, So, and I know nowadays we have different philosophies about parenting. Everybody has their own parenting. Spare the rod, spoil the child is some philosophies, and other people like a softer touch. And I don't fault any of them as long as they work.
Yeah.
But, obviously I think you're in agreement on this. Anybody beating their child, anybody abusing their child, things like SA or, some kind of detention or like putting somebody in a box and things along the lines of the things that are described in that book. Like a room and being whipped with a metal stick that left, had blood dripping down the back of their leg, and you and your sister are outside playing while this is going
that's the funniest part to me.
So explain some of that to me, if you would, about could this have happened in your life and you didn't see it?
No, and the reason I say that is because the only house that had a metal shed was the house that we lived at the very last when I was 17 going into 18.
Right.
So, number one, it didn't have lock on the door. It was one of those old ones that slid, like the door slide open
like a barn door.
Yeah. And there was enough room in there for like a lawnmower. I mean, it was jam packed.
Right.
And so, when I moved to that house, the summer before my senior year, I started working for a company, and I met my ex-wife that summer. He would come up to where I work and hang out there. And so, we were never home. So for him to sit there and say that he was beaten and locked in that room while me and my sister played outside, that's ludicrous, because number one, I was almost 18. She would have been 13. I love my sister to death, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to sit out there and play with her while, when I've got a girlfriend.
Right.
So no, literally, don't get me wrong when I say this. My dad he could be a disciplinarian if he wanted to be. But anytime he raised up to one of us kids, my mom would jump in. My mom would stand in between.
Like I think most mothers did back in the day,
Yeah.
or even now when a kid, that's that motherly instinct. They tend to do that, and my mom did it. I wasn't listen, I wasn't getting murdered. I'll tell you that right now.
Exactly.
I might have been getting open hand smacked on the bottom, and
Yeah, exactly.
Squealing like a stuck pig, and that's what set my mom off. So I mean, I get that.
I'll be the first to admit I've gotten spanked with a belt.
Yep.
Stuff like that. But nothing to the extent that I would ever say I'm an abused child. Now when you're younger, you think the world is coming down.
Right.
When you're getting spanked.
Right.
But I mean, back in the 80s and 70s, that's what happened. I mean, that's what happened.
Listen, we are the original FAFO generation.
Yes.
I mean,
we are.
If you effed, you faffed. So,
I mean, it was.
You faffed, you foed.
Yeah.
And so you said you guys went on family vacation.
Oh yeah.
And you just said you went to summer camp. You played sports.
Yeah.
What did you guys play with other kids in the neighborhood? And
well, the way the churches were set up, they were in like rural areas, so there really wasn't a whole lot of like neighbors. So you may have to go 2 or 3 miles to go to another house. So it wasn't like it was, but at the last house we were at, one of Dylan's friends lived, like we could see his house from where our house sat. He would go over there all the time. And so it's not
he
like
hung out at somebody else's house a lot.
Yeah. And he just, I mean, I want it out there for everybody to hear that we were not an abused family. He was not abused in any way, shape, or form. It never happened. That's the 3 of us. That's at the very last house. My sister in the middle, of course, that's Dylan right there.
This is Dylan?
On the right. And that's me on the left. And so, I mean, we just were not abused. That does not look like the picture of an abused child right there. I mean,
well, let's see what else we got. Explain this to me. What is this?
That is my 10th grade prom. So, he was this was at the private school. So, and, that's of course Dylan on the left, and that is me on the right.
This is Dylan?
Yeah.
And this is you?
Yep. So, I mean, that was getting ready that night to go to a prom. I mean, yeah. So this is at my wedding. That's of course Dylan, and for somebody he hated so much and was so, that's my mother. And You know, I mean, they're both smiling. I know you can't see her face, but she has this big old smile on her
Well,
face.
she is. She's absolutely. She's very happy to have her son with her.
Yeah, and right here he's 17, and so he stated in his book that he ran away at 14 or 15 or 13. That's him at 17.
That doesn't look like a dumpster.
No, yeah, not at all. I mean, that's why I'm saying I wanted to come on and just say he built his entire life story starting with this lie, and
Exactly.
he grew and grew and grew. It's like I've said before.
What do we got?
Okay.
What do we got? Who are these hoochies?
So
sorry, hoochies. If you're out there and you happen to watch this, you're not really hoochies, but
that's me with my date, and that's Matt with his date. And oh yeah, from the left, that's Matt with his date, my date, me. And that was the night of our prom. And so, you know, I mean, he would have been. I was driving, so I was 16. He would have been 15 at that point.
15 years old.
Yeah.
So did where did he get dressed? Because apparently in the book he was living under a highway or wherever he was doing. Did he come back to the house, take a shower, and get his haircut and stuff to go to prom?
Yeah. So he got dressed in his bedroom at the house. I mean,
In his what?
In his bedroom.
Like it had a bed and everything.
Oh yeah,
And it was a room.
a room. He had his own room.
Son of a bitch.
I know.
I had a fucking refrigerator box.
But you know,
and this is one that I find very interesting, and because you know, one of the first things he did when he got over to TikTok, over there in that cesspool of an app. Sorry, all you TikTokers, but over there on the other side of the tracks, he did a video, and I highlighted it in a video that he's in church, and I think the explanation was that you know his father was y'all's father was up there praising and worshiping, and that's him in the background with the girl hair. I mean, actually, now that I'm looking at it, yeah. And he's like upset. He's sitting there and he's making
making those
So, I find it odd. The other side of the spectrum when you see this that the church was so bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so my wedding, and I mean, he doesn't look like an abused kid, abused homeless child that's been essayed under a bridge by a homeless person. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean,
I can go in further in case we're wondering if he's grimacing from, the hard life that he's having, ladies and gentlemen, or if he's actually happy to be where he's at that moment.
yeah. And that's, I mean, I would have never started all this if he would have just told the truth from the beginning.
Amen.
If he wants to be a massive TikToker, I have no problem with that. The problem I have is when you base everything off of a lie.
The philosophy that the group that came together the other night is, you know what, if he had just gone on to his TikTok life, our community over here, the angry Viking community, I'll call it, because that's what that whole movement, the whole patriotism movement, really brought us all together as a group, and he did a lot of damage over here.
Oh yeah,
And it's obvious that doing damage to other people's lives seems to be a repetitive concept in his life. It's a trend. It's kind of a consistent theme that he's had since he's left home.
It is.
And so, again, you know, we know that he took a lot of money from somebody that was in this group, from Silver Fox, and he took a lot of money from, you know, people in that video, Southpaw, and like hundreds, thousands of subscribers and other people. And even with that said, you know, I would never say individually, you know, if you want to go take legal action again against them, go for it. But had he just gone over there and stopped with the bullshit, if he had just stopped portraying himself as this victimized child, this beaten down human who comes from a what it looks like an incredibly nice life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it mom, dad, brother, sister, football, prom, summer camp, church, friends, bicycle rides. I mean, it looks pretty normal to me. Yeah. And so I don't understand why somebody would develop this persona. Life is fucked up enough as it is.
Yes, it is.
We all have enough trauma and shit in our lives. That's enough already. Why create more to carry around and have to keep track of, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Well, the theory I have behind it is if you make up this outrageous story and you have nobody to refute it, because he cut all ties to us, so we couldn't refute it. Nobody could refute it. People feel sorry for you, you know, and they're like, "Oh, that's so sad that you did that, or that you went through that. Here, let's lift you up. We're gonna lift you up." And the problem that I have with that, or with this whole thing, is when you start off everything as a lie, you have to keep building on the lies.
Yep.
At some point, it's going to be hard to remember all the lies you've had to tell.
It's difficult over the course of a lifetime to have a pretty big lie like this and not have it come back and bite you in the ass.
Exactly. I mean, he had at some point in his existence, he had to know that the moment he got that big, his family would recognize him. He stands out in the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
like a dog turd in a fucking living room. That's how he stands out.
It's not like he, isn't available to see.
Right.
So he had to know that we would find him, or and me, I hate just seeing what it did to my mother. Because
tell me about that. So expound on that some more, if you would. So I want the viewers to understand, and I want you to be able to get that out. I want your mom to be able to speak through you right now, because I know you guys have been talking. But more importantly, because I know he's watching. I know you're watching, Dylan. I know you're watching, and I want you to hear what you did to your mother and your brother and your sister and your father. And I want you to hear what your mom had to say and what happened here.
So when she first got the notification of the book and she read the book, it broke her heart. I mean, because he was not raised like that. It just absolutely destroyed her. And then the longer and longer that, you know, she called him one day, and he would never answer the phone. And so for every Mother's Day, every holiday, myself and my sister had to listen to her cry because she wasn't getting all of her children. And so, you know, me personally, because I'm older, I was like, you know what? If that's him, that's how he wants to live his life. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, Denise was just telling me she remembered. So it's been 20 years this month that
Since she hasn't seen him.
she hasn't seen him.
17.
Now she's talked to him, because the funny thing about it is he did all this, and you know, he walked out the door, joined the military. He would FaceTime her from Fallujah and talking about how scary he was and this, that, and the other. And she always answered the phone. Anytime she saw, regardless what time it was here, it could be 3:00 in the morning, and she would pick up the phone to talk to him.
So he would call her and say he was in Fallujah.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah, that's
Bahrain.
Bahrain. I'm sorry.
Bahrain. All right.
I was like,
Well, there.
I was like, that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
So, and he would talk about how scared he was, and you know, he just wanted to hear her voice, and you know, and she would always answer that phone, regardless of what, like I said, what this time was. And to go from that to, so it's been 16 years that she has not even talked to him since being in the military. And, you know, probably the last 2 or 3 years, Mom's starting to come around to where I can call her on Mother's Day and she's more upbeat, because she's talked to my sister and she's talked to me, and she'll talk to my son. And, you know, so she still asks, what did she do wrong? Now, I had to tell her the other day, I was like, you didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
I'm like, this is all him. You know, so me and my sister, we don't take everything as hard as my mom did. The reason I'm doing this is because I have finally gotten tired of all the lies and scamming of and then when I found out he did the Angry Viking group, and he's still doing it on TikTok. I mean, if I can help one person to not give away their savings to this man, it's fine. You know, I've accomplished my mission. But now he's talking about merch, and I can just see the whole pattern starting over again.
Yeah, so he repeats the same cycle over and over, and it's just at some point, somebody's got to say this is it. He stops here. So Bear is actually in the chat, and I'm gonna start asking a couple questions from chat.
Yeah.
But Bear, being the inquisitive little Ewok that he is, asks what your mom thinks about you coming out and exposing his lies.
She's worried that
I remember how to do this, Bear.
he'll come after me. And I'm like, let him. Let him.
Not going to.
He's not going to because he knows I'm telling the truth. Now, if I was coming on here and telling a whole bunch of lies about him, hey,
what does your mom think about all this? Like, what's her
Oh.
view of you coming out to say, look, Mom, I got to do this. This is
she's okay with it.
she gets it.
Yeah, she just doesn't want to be involved in it. And I told her, you know, this is something I'm doing. We told her about all the Angry Viking guys. I'm like, Mom, they're really good guys. You know, I'm like, y'all have a whole nother family, you know, out there. But I'm not afraid to speak my truth. If he is doing all this, you know, all he would have to do is say, you know what? I messed up. You know, this is the real story of what happened.
So that's kind of where we're at too, as a group. Obviously, we know we're having an effect, and we're hurting him where we want to. We're stopping the flow of him leeching money out of vulnerable people.
Oh God, yes.
And the other goal that we have is to expose him and to let everybody know who he is, so that not just this TikTok thing, because we also know about Crumble and we know about several other things. So with that being said, we're going to stop this across the board. But this is really simple. If you think that, not you, but if Dylan, if you're watching, if you think that I'm enjoying sitting here, or other people are enjoying sitting in front of their community doing this work, you're right. But, you know, there's a lot of other things that we could be doing.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you. So if my condition is, come on the live stream with me. Come and explain yourself to the people that you've done wrong to. Repent. Come in here and be done with it.
Yep.
And then from this point forward, live an honorable life. I've said this. I've said that phrase to several people, and I mean that. Come in here, get it out, get rid of the book, repair your family's name, stop scamming people. If you do become a successful TikToker or motivational speaker, you need to set up a victims fund.
Yes.
And you need to pay back the people that you've stolen money from. And you need to put in public works, and you need to do public service for people. Because the bottom line is, until you do that, nothing is going to change in you, and nothing is going to change with us. We're not going to stop. We're going to stop you, and you have to stop. Tonight was about getting your story out. Tonight was about letting your mom's voice be heard. What would you want to say if you could talk to him directly right now?
So my wife and I actually had this conversation yesterday in the car. Because she asked me if he called you today and said, I want to start a relationship with you. That's fine. But you need to go online and publicly denounce every lie you've told.
And Kim said the right thing here too. I'm sorry to interrupt. I missed this. I'm sorry. Do the right thing by Mama T and those children as well.
Yes.
And I'm sorry. And while we're here, everybody shout out to Mama T. She was in the hospital overnight. She's doing good, doing great, because you can't keep that that lady down. But we just want to give a shout out to Mama T. Prayers out to from everybody to her, and we're glad she's doing all right. And but I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I mean, he would need to publicly announce to the world that everything he's built upon has lied, and he would have to start to make amends for everything he's done.
That'd be a good beginning, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it's just like you said, and you said it perfectly. If you want to be this famous personality online, I have zero problem with that. But what I suggest you do, and is take half of what you make and put it into a fund to pay back the people that you have wrongfully taken from.
And then with the half that he still has over, he's still got these babies to take care of.
Yeah,
he's still
take
got
care of your kids.
Just be a responsible human
Yeah.
being, a responsible man. It's really
Yeah.
not that easy, or really not that hard. It's not rocket surgery.
Yeah,
To be honest with you,
I mean,
be the man that he claims he is online. He claims to be this incredible person, and that he's a dedicated father, and he has struggled his whole life, and he's this
Yeah.
combat veteran that which he never went to combat. And we're hearing stories that he says he retired from the fire department or whatever. I don't fucking know. Apparently he didn't do that either. It's just ridiculous. Build your own life.
yeah,
Like, instead of stealing other people's stories. I'm not even going to discuss tonight the using a child, the death of a child for profit. I'm not going to get into that tonight.
Oh my God, yes.
That's going to be another night's topic, but because again, this is not going away until the right things happen, and I can't understand it. I it's beyond me, and so it's gotten to the point for me that it's almost as if he doesn't have a soul. And I know that can't be right. There has to be a person in there. I was talking to somebody
absolutely.
last night. I was talking to somebody last night. There has to be a real human being with feelings in there. Not this. Honestly, there might be several people in there with feelings. Because to do this thing to his family, just to the family as a whole, is horrible. But specifically your mom.
Yeah.
Not to minimize anything from you, but you get it.
Yeah.
Do this to your own mother.
Yeah. I mean,
Fathers be damned.
Yeah.
We're top. But your mother, bro.
your mother, and that's what I always told Joshua, or my son, and that's what I always tell my little one. You respect your mother. You and I can be out in the front yard having a knockdown drag out. If she comes out and says stop, you stop instantly.
Yeah.
You kiss the ground they walk on,
Sure.
because mothers are everything.
That's it.
You can get upset with them. I mean, hell, I've gotten upset with my mom before. But I would bend over backwards for her.
That's right.
And, and Joshua, my oldest, he's 25. He looks at Denise as his real mother. And, he has nothing but respect for her whenever he comes over. And because I've instilled, because we got him when he was 14, and I said, you know what? I don't have a whole lot of rules in my house.
Mhm.
The one rule I have, you always respect Denise.
Absolutely.
And, and that's, you always respect the mother.
Listen, man, after it's no secret that I'm divorced and had custody of my children, and as much as I disliked my ex-wife at the time, and as much animosity that was there, I still made sure that my kids understood that that was their mother, and they need to respect her, and they need to love her, and they need to maintain a relationship with her. It didn't matter whether I liked her or not, and I always tried to put that face on. I tried to. We're not always successful, but because that's their mom, that's what you do, and you just never want to ruin somebody's image of their mother unless it's a really horrible person. But even then,
yeah.
what's up?
So I just got a message. So I do want you to mention to everybody about Dylan using Mama T's son, because tomorrow is the anniversary. He's going to use that for clout tomorrow on videos, because he's already said he'll be going live on Monday.
Yeah. I wanted to avoid it, but I think we could talk about it a little bit.
Well,
She's okay with it.
she's okay with it. She's
right.
watching. She's watching us.
Okay. All right.
I think that is absolutely disgusting.
So for context, because even the folks over here may not understand, because we didn't really touch on it. I'm going to be honest. We've kind of avoided this topic because it's a lot. And knowing the anniversary is coming up, I was going to just kind of steer away from it this week. But if she's okay with it, I think we need to explain the context and what's going on. What happened on TikTok for everybody is Mama T several years ago lost a child. I don't know the details of the relationship. I believe they had just started. They were just together. So Dylan only saw this child maybe 6 times. Hang on, folks.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So Dylan only saw this child 6 times. Am I wrong?
From
Yeah.
what we understand.
What we understand, he only saw him a handful of times.
Handful of times. And he didn't raise this child
Yeah.
as his own. It is, so it's definitely not his kid. But what he started doing, it might have been a couple years ago. And I'm going to tell you from personal experience, and I can tell you there's another fellow over on TikTok that he did this to as well. I lost a child. I lost a son at 3 days old. And, that's a trauma. I don't care who you are. And so Dylan used this story as a way to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did then, what he's doing now on TikTok for profit, is claiming the son was his, and it's the anniversary, and he gets on to the TikTok people on the TikTok tube, and he cries.
Yeah.
As you could see, like I've quoted it. I quoted his words from his book. I have developed the ability to force myself to cry. That's a direct quote from Wooded Sanctuary, written by Dylan Stevens. And so he gets on live, or he does a video, and I have these videos, and tells this sob story and shows a picture of him with his arm around the child and saying that he said his ex-wife killed his baby. And then he says it's a babysitter other times. I could never, it was always something different. But
So
hey, Sean's in here. Actually, Sean understands. What's up, brother? Sean, this is another person that so over on TikTok, this is Sean, and
Sean,
He did- he did the
Yeah,
same.
Sean.
Welcome, Sean. Welcome to the good side of the neighborhood, buddy.
I follow Sean.
Yeah, Sean's good people, and but he
so-
did the same thing to him.
Her son was born in
No, they got married.
They got married
March.
in March.
And he
Okay.
died in August.
Her son died in August. So there was only 4 months, and during that time, if I'm speaking correctly, I believe Dylan was going through basic training during that time
So
or
he was
something.
gone. Yeah.
He was gone, so he only saw the kid 2 or 3 times
Um,
at most. And so when the babysitter drowned the child, I mean, the child was what? The child was 2, right?
2.
Yeah.
He was
So-
2.
Child was 2, so that he would have been 17 tomorrow.
No. Tomorrow's the anniversary of his passing.
Oh, so say. No, I'm thinking
You're thinking birthday.
birthday.
So, as another thing for Mama T, everybody just keep that in mind as she's healing from what she's just gone through over there. Just keep in mind that this is also the anniversary. So if you're reaching out to her, or you're trying to talk to her, just give her a little space, maybe. But definitely if you're in that TikTok trailer park, go ahead and go over there and show her some love.
So she just let us know he was home 10 days max.
10 days.
He saw that child for 10 days before the child passed. And he claimed that is his son.
That he raised the child, and
Yeah.
then what he comes on is he comes out and he blubbers and boo-hoos on TikTok.
Yeah, I guarantee you tomorrow you're going to see crocodile tears and
and they just throw money at him and throw him all the support, and so that's the grift. That's part of the grift.
Yeah, I mean that's
he's certainly good at capitalizing on other people's trauma to profit for himself.
Yes, he is. I mean, he is, and there's no way around it. That's what he does. He started off with the book and this horrible childhood. Then he moved over, after whatever he did, he got in with you guys. And then he moved over to the Tic Tac.
Tic Tit. Chat. I'm going to open up to the chat real quick, if you don't mind. I don't want to keep you on not too much longer. We just hit an hour, and I don't want to hold you up because I know you got a life and stuff. So, we got any questions? Yeah. So if you go over to Big Old Dipshit's page on TikTok, he'll just block you.
Yes, he will.
His
He
mods
is
are super sketch.
notorious for that. So I started doing some research about him,
Happy birthday, Bear.
and one of the guys did a video. He started a series that was creators on this app I have lost respect for. And the very first one was Big Old Texan. And so, of course, I watched the video. And it was essentially along the lines of when Dylan was in the hospital, this creator reached out to him and was like, "Hey, can I sing to you and Mama T?" And so he sang, and then apparently went over really good or whatever. And Dylan said, "Well, I want you to sing at my funeral." And he was like, "Okay, I've never been asked that before, so if something happens, I'll be more than happy to do that."
What was he going to sing? Devil Went Down to Georgia?
But then this same creator reached out because he was going through something and he wanted some, I guess, attention brought to this, whatever was going on. And he actually had the nerve to say, "You need to schedule and talk to one of my mods And if it is not going to affect my mental health, they will let me know.
So let me touch on that real quick before you go any further, because I need to seize on this. So he, and I know you've seen this, and folks on TikTok, over in the Rumble there, you know this. He says a lot about, he'll complain about stuff, about people going into boxes and people going into doing videos. Men's mental health month, right? Yeah, men's mental health month, right? Yeah. You know, blah blah blah. So that's gaslighting. Just so you understand, this is gaslighting at a professional level. He gives not a single zero fuck about Men's Mental Health Month. It is not currently Men's Mental Health Month, but he continues to talk about it like it is. And what he wants you to do, this is a gaslighting technique that narcissists do, is give you topics that you cannot discuss.
Yeah.
It's just too hard for me to discuss it. I can't talk about that. And because if you discuss it, it's too hard for them to keep track of the BS that is coming out of their face hole. So they'll do that, ladies and gentlemen. Just ladies, pay attention. Men, pay attention. Women do it too. When you get, sometimes some things are traumatic. You know, if I'm sitting around talking about the military or I'm talking about something else, you know, there's some aspects to certain stories I don't want to tell. I just don't want to discuss it. But I'm never going to say we can't talk about that. It's Men's Mental Health Month. We can't discuss it. You know, I might just say I'm not comfortable discussing it, or I might say you may not like the details. Are you sure you want to hear this?
Yeah.
And so, you know, but Men's Mental Health Month is not about being a bitch and running, hiding behind some facade of trauma that's not even there.
That's not there at all.
It's not there at all, and it's all phony and made up. So I just want people to understand, when you see things like that, when you hear somebody say on a live stream, because they're coming to talk about something, it's planned out. They're coming, they're picking their phone up and they're holding it to their face. And then they say, I don't want to talk about it because it's Men's Mental Health Month. Then why'd you pick up the fucking phone and start yapping with your fucking gums?
Yeah, exactly.
So understand, these are ploys, these are grifts, these are tools within the scammer, con artist, grifter toolbox. Yes, Chicken Dance. I love that song.
That video was perfect. Just Chicken Dance.
So we touched on this. Thank you, Hoppy. We touched on this during the big live. It was kind of hectic, man. That was like a bunch of people just rapid firing questions out. It was probably like drinking from a fire hose. But Hoppy 340 wants to know, does BJ think of anything that may or could have happened that made him start acting like this? Did you see any catalyst anywhere along the line?
I didn't, but Matt had encephalitis when he was younger. I don't know, 10, 11, 12, something like that. And they put him in a medically induced coma for a day to get his temperature down. His temperature, like 106, 107, something like that. And so I personally think that something may have
fried a chip.
Yeah, something
might have dinged up the hard drive a little bit.
But as far as anything else that happened in our life, no, nothing happened in our life that could have caused this.
When he was a kid and he'd get in trouble, or when he felt uncomfortable in situations, did he make up stories? Did he lie as a kid? Did he roll over and show his soft underbelly like we're seeing him do on TikTok now that he's caught?
No, the thing about it is he always he was the one out of the three of us that would buck up to my dad. If my dad was saying something to him and Matt or Dylan didn't like it, Dylan would buck up to him.
So he may have gotten his ass whooped. I'm just kidding.
No,
I mean,
because my mom would always jump in the middle.
I'm
And
just
so-
saying, you know, back in the day, you buck up to dad.
Yeah, you get knocked down.
You're gonna wake up a little while later.
I mean, he came up. So I've got a story for everybody. I've never told it. I never told you this. So he called CPS on my parents because he said that my dad. Now, mind you, in the community, a Methodist minister is like a pillar of the community. The rural towns, they all,
Right.
flock to the minister. He called CPS and stated that my dad hit him in the head with a car starter, but it didn't leave a mark.
Interesting.
Now, my dad was 6'3", 320 pounds.
So he's a little man.
Yeah. So if he hit somebody with a piece of machinery from a car,
Fucking
it would
start
leave
up.
a mark.
If he hit somebody with a fucking starter, they'd probably start up.
Yeah. And so the embarrassing part is you had a CPS worker show up at a minister's house and question them about, now mind you, he was 7 or 16 when this took place. According to the book, he was gone living under a bridge somewhere.
Right.
So they interviewed my mom, they interviewed my dad, they interviewed him. Case closed. No evidence.
We're looking at a roughly that age.
Yes, yes, that age right there. So I mean, he he literally has been lying since this age right here. And it's like,
Let me ask you a question, just to lighten the mood a little bit. Who's this Matt Damon looking fucker? What's going on here? I mean, I don't know what that is. What's up with baby Matt Damon? I'm just wondering. And my next question is, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, Matt Damon became the actor and left this blob right here on.
So, I mean, sorry, but do you have anything else? Like, is there anything you want to say to the supporters we have here, to anybody else that's out there? What's your biggest takeaway from tonight, or your biggest?
Yeah, here's what I wanted to say to anybody. So, nobody can tell anybody else who you give your money to.
Exactly.
You can do, that's your money. You can do whatever you want to with it. The thing I beg of people is to do your research. It's just like, with his book, that 13 whatever, rather than giving it to him or whatever, donate it to a charity for abused children. But if you want to give money to somebody, do research. Find out if that person is actually a good person that you're giving your money to. But at the end of the day, nobody can tell you what to do with your money.
Listen, if you want to set that shit on fire, that's your own business.
Yeah. You know, if you want to, if somebody really wants to get rid of money that bad, give me your address. I'll come over, kick in the nuts, and I'll take the money from you.
Right.
If you really want to just throw money away that bad, the main thing is just look. He's built his entire life on lies. It's like I told you, Gator, and we talked about this. If he would have just been an everyday person that came on this app doing all these crazy things,
Nobody would have cared.
we wouldn't be batting an eye. But it's the fact that he has stole thousands and thousands of dollars from people. What pisses me off the most is he stole money from kids. And
Yeah.
doesn't see anything wrong with it. Like, nothing.
You know, during our AV time, we actually were raising money to give laptop computers to inner city children and inner city schools. Across, we were trying to raise money for that, and that money disappeared. Like, that's how bad it got.
Yeah. I mean, and so I don't ever want anybody to think that, you know, he's some big megastar and I'm whining because I'm not. No, I don't want that life. You know, I'm very happy where I'm at. I have a beautiful family. I just want to look out for people who are just blindly giving this man money, because I've heard stories of where people have gave this man the last $1,000 in their bank account, and because they couldn't give anymore, he blocked and muted them.
Yes.
What? So now you have to go explain to your significant other that the mortgage payment can't get paid because you gave this money to a random stranger. And so, but it's like I said, nobody can tell you what to do with your money. I just want you to be smart about it. Look into the person you're giving it to. You know, I guarantee you type this Dylan's name into Google, you're going to find Angry Viking, you're going to find TikTok, hell, you'll probably even find me. And if he has a reputation of scamming and stealing money, what do you think he's going to do to you?
That's right.
Unless you have unlimited funds, you're constantly going to be given to him. You are a means to an end. Once you can't give to him anymore, you serve no purpose to him, and you are pushed aside for somebody new that can give to him.
That's right. You know, let me discuss this. So I'm sure you saw the video, chickens and eagles and chickens,
Oh, God, yes.
pigs and chickens and geese, turkeys. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. Cooking chickens. I don't know. Fried chicken. I don't know. But saying that, you know, where, you know, you, his soon-to-be ex-wife, his former landlord, everybody that was on that live the other night, anybody who stands up and says that he's lying about something, we're all chickens.
Yeah.
We're all liars and chickens because we won't come say it to his face. But I'm pretty sure during that live, we said numerous times, come on in and talk.
Oh, yeah.
I also been looking for you, buddy. But on top of that, you're more than welcome, Dylan, at any time to come into this live or come to the house. I'd love to see you. But more importantly, it'd be great if you came into this live and you sat here and you talked to people. All right. instead of sitting in your car with your fucking Christmas tree air freshener, smoking your kiwi flavored electric dick, come here. Stop running. Stop hiding. Okay?
And
No amount of steroids are going to stop this. No amount of working out. No, and listen, what he's doing now, and this is another tactic that these people do, is they morph. They will change who they are. And so he went from angry Viking and then morphed into big old Texas. And when that started to fall apart, now he's morphing into this soft little chicken hating motivational wannabe speaker. This fucking bubble balloon Tony Robbins.
yeah,
And it's not going to work. You try. What this is now what he's showing us is his soft underbelly. He's asking us to stop. Just so you know. Just so everybody knows. He wants us to stop. It's not going to stop until he stops.
Yep.
And that means no amount of softening your tone, no amount of baby girls, no amount of fucking Zeus's, no number of fucking cowboy hats. It's going to change who the fuck you are. And we know it. And we're not going to stop until you stop. So I want you to know that. That's my final thought for the night. But at the end of the day, BJ, you're getting the last word here, brother.
I mean, I appreciate you giving the platform to do this. You know, everybody just please be careful with him, because I'm telling you right now, you will get used and thrown to the wayside. You know, it may not happen right now, you know, because he is doing this soft spoken. And think about it like this:
Not going to work.
a month ago, he was going on drunken tirades on TikTok Live, telling people he was going to put them in the hospital room or a hospital bed on site, and that tappers and sharers were garbage to him, and you didn't mean anything to him and his family unless you gave him money.
And now everybody's famous.
Now the real MVPs are my tappers and sharers. Which is it? So
and for those of you guys on YouTube, so you're talking tapping and sharing. I'm just learning this shit, and I feel like do you ever start listening to your kids' lingo and then you start using it and you feel like a real freaking idiot when you do it around grown-ups?
yes.
That's how I feel talking about TikTok. So tapping and sharing when you're on live or battles. So that's their way of showing support.
Well,
It's like their
the more you tap, it puts it onto the main page, a For You page, and the more you do it, the higher that number goes, and the more people that can potentially see it.
I was fucking today years old.
When you share it, it goes out to everybody,
Right,
on your list. So it doesn't give the content creator anything except visibility. That more people can see it. So like when Mama T goes live and we're constantly tapping the screen, you see that number going up.
It's showing more people her live.
Yes.
Or the battle that they're in. Or whatever.
Yes. It didn't even have to be a battle. It just, even when they're just straight up live.
So for those of you that don't know what a battle is, BJ and I are going to pretend like we're in a battle real quick. So what'll happen is on your fucking little tiny screen, two motherfuckers will pop up on the screen. And now you got to squint really good to see who the fuck that is. But then they're in there, hey, come on, send me a Zeus and send me a hammer and
Send me a lion.
I need a rubber duck,
Universe.
a fucking bucket of water. And so they're asking you for all sorts of shit. And what you're doing is gifting. And you're supporting the creator, but they're cheerleading you on. They're like hyping you up to get it.
Because each one of those things costs coins. Well, to get the coins, you got to spend real money.
Right.
So you're getting, you may spend a Zeus costs $250 for you to send it. The content creator may get, TikTok can take their cut of it, and then the content creator is going to get whatever's left over.
And so what's going on is they're not even doing any content. It's just some people I do. I have seen this, BJ. One person will be sitting there yelling, flipping out, fucking picking their nose, juggling fucking water balloons, whatever, and trying to hype everybody up. And then another guy will be over there fucking jamming on a guitar, like making content or painting or doing like creating something. Like Mama T and I don't want to use her real name, but Mama T, they go on and they talk and they share shit with each other, and like it's like a small group of people that get together and talk like we used to do on Facebook or on YouTube. Everybody, when we had our channel, we would all cut up and get together. It's the same thing over there, and you can support that creator. Yeah, these other guys just their sole focus is to sit there with a fucking shirt off, so that you ladies think it's I was gonna say Chippendales, but it's not even that good. It's like chipping cracks, cracking hails. You're out there fucking throwing quarters. So it's just weird. And then they do the battles where there's nothing there.
Well, a perfect example is a great one I watched tonight. I mean, it was actually pretty awesome to watch. So on the left screen, you had Jason Voorhees, and on the right screen, you had Freddy Krueger. And it was guys that actually cosplayed as those characters. And they battled each other. And so...
See, if you're creative about it,
that was really cool to watch.
I get it. If it's something neat. But to just sit there and be like, hey, baby girl, fucking, hey, fuck you, that's not enough. Oh, hey, the other girl with the
you send me the biggest gifter will get their name written on a hat.
Yeah, if you send me a big gift, I'll scratch my butthole. Stupid shit. So, I mean, it's just it's an easy form of grifting. If you want to go and give money to somebody who's sitting around not doing a fucking thing, there's probably a homeless vet somewhere.
Exactly.
That you can go hand money to, or, your cousin Bob somewhere could use that. I know people that are affected by this person. People whose lives have been affected by Dylan that can't pay their bills, that might lose their house now.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to support somebody, instead of giving it to fucking Steroid Joe over here, I know a couple ladies over on TikTok that are fucking hurting for money to just pay their bills.
The stories that people have actually shared are absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, people have lost everything. Like one woman said she lost her house because she gave to Dylan. He turned around. She couldn't give anymore, but she was a supporter for like 3 or 4 months. Once she ran out of money, he blocked her. Then she had to explain to her husband that she'd given these thousands of dollars. He left. And she lost her house.
Where's he at? Where's he at?
Yeah.
Where's he at, BJ? I just saw him the other night sitting in a fucking pool at somebody else's house.
Exactly.
Drinking, I don't know, bull semen or something. I don't know what the fuck was in his little coconut juice bottle, but he's sitting over there living the high life while he's fucking has devastated other people's lives. And this is we're talking a couple of years post what he did to our family,
Yeah.
where he caused chaos and mayhem for people on our side, almost had people get divorced and lose their homes and
Yeah.
devastated their lives. And now he's right back doing it again. So
Yeah.
that's why we're doing this.
I mean, I just don't like. My wife would straight up murder me if I gave her credit over bills. I
You
mean,
what?
well, no, I said if I gave.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to throw somebody, you have $2 or $3 you buy some coins with. Great.
Right. Dicking around, wanting to have fun, and
But if you are literally giving them thousands of dollars,
yeah, a night.
no. I mean, there ain't no way. I mean,
No, you and I have discussed this, BJ. We've talked about this. It's not about taking him down.
mm,
It's about preventing him from doing it to other people.
yes,
That's the focus, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about destroying one man's life. It's not about trying to bring one man down. It's about stopping him and preventing him from continuing to drain other people's bank accounts, to destroy other people's lives.
yeah, it's about saving his next victim.
Yeah, and that's the goal.
If a person can watch this and say, you know what, I really shouldn't do this, and we keep that person from getting into marital conflict and financial conflict, hey, I've won.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you notice, I don't want a fucking dime. I'll never ask for any money. I have no desire. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. Bear's doing it because it's the right thing to do. Everybody else is doing it because it's the right thing to do. BJ's doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's not about money. It's not about profit or gain. It's about the right thing. And I think we all need to start doing the right thing, whether it be this topic or whether it be anything else. Live an honorable life, ladies and gentlemen. Do the right thing. Just you're better off in the long run. You don't sow destruction in your path.
No.
So
And
BJ, anything else you want? Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, and you don't hurt kids.
Kids, man.
I mean,
It is,
you know what?
especially your own.
Especially your own kids. I
Yeah.
mean, that's where I come from. Just you don't want to have your kids grow up thinking that you did this to them.
Right. And you guys grew up where?
We grew up in North Carolina.
North Carolina. It's not
Yeah.
Texas.
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Who's never herded cattle?
No.
Never roped a pony.
No.
You ever have a gunfight in the streets?
No.
Am I about to find something out that I don't know about?
No,
Okay.
I promise. I mean,
there's always broke back whatever, but I don't know, man. That's for somebody else to dive into. Beach, man, it's been a pleasure having you here.
great being here.
Hang out backstage for a second. I'm gonna come cut up with you and the missus here in a second. I'm just gonna say goodbye to these people. We gotta, you try to give them a hint that the party's over and they just want to fucking linger around, hang out in my living room, watching The Godfather on TV. I know we're at the best part of The Godfather, ladies and gentlemen, but I mean, get the fuck out. I'm just kidding. Beej, I'll be right back there for you. So, guys, man, I hope this was informative for everybody. I hope you got something out of it. I hope somebody that was kind of on the peripheral and is just coming in to see this topic for the first time, you haven't seen the 5-hour live. Sorry it was so long, but I think this was important to get out and to make sure that we got this message out for people that were in our situation, all of our situations where we just took for granted that we thought this guy was all right, and people gave him money, and some of us supported him, and some of us stood on the front lines with him. And so before we get to that next spot, we need to make sure we get the message out. Spread the word. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. And if you're over on TikTok, share the stupid videos that I'm putting out. Bear and I and everybody else, we really appreciate that. And get the message out. That's the biggest thing. It's not about growing channels. It's not about video likes. It's about the message. It's about getting that word out so that we can. He has no refuge, no quarter, no safe place where he can do this to anybody else again. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I say be kind to each other, be nice to each other, love on each other, and be good people. And I look forward to seeing you again. Love you guys. Peace.